What's going on, everyone? Today we have ourselves a Falcon RGH3, got for a steal off of eBay, and I also have an RGH 1.2 Falcon, and I was planning on using the two Falcons in the Barricade Bumblebee build, but I'm also getting my RGH 1.2 Jasper back with the flash drive without the speaker, and we're going to actually see if we can put that speaker in the Zero Fuse and hope that that works better without the mod chip also on there. I don't know, we'll see. But we're going to use the 1.2 Jasper in Bumblebee, and we're going to use the 1.2 Falcon in Barricade. That one was working very solid, and plan to both have a 500 gigabyte hard drive. This was going to be the one 500 gigabyte hard drive used in one of those. Now this Falcon RGH 3 seems to have some issues. So for starters, he claimed to have at least the basic starter stuff on the hard drive. Usually when people say that, there's also like some games and stuff on there. When I first got this, turned it on, absolutely nothing happened. Just green light here, and it was just like waiting, and I'm like, I'm sure it'll take a while the first time plugged in to boot, and literally left it on for like 15-20 minutes and nothing happens. So I'm like, hey, something, am I missing something here? And he's like, oh, did you try opening the disk drive? You didn't try to do this? Is it plugged in HDMI? Is it blah, blah, blah? And I'm like, okay, no, I didn't do any of that stuff. I was just waiting on it. And then I took this flash drive, which came with the 1.2 Falcon. That one did not come with a hard drive at all. This is a 120 gigabyte flash drive. It said to boot off of this. And basically I used this to transfer the basic stuff, dash launch, Aurora, over to the hard drive in our Death Note 360 over here. This one just has a 20 gigabyte hard drive. He's going to get his own, but I wanted to at least load, at least have it so it can boot right into Aurora on there, and maybe we'll see if we can transfer a game on there. Anyway, this flash drive has the basic stuff on it, no games or anything, and I've been using this to just, plug in, transfer the stuff onto the regular hard drive. That way the system can kind of boot off of that. And the other 500 gigabyte hard drive I have is, in fact, has all the stuff on it and has a whole bunch of games and stuff. So that hard drive is going right into the Jasper as soon as I get it back, which should be tomorrow. And then this one, I was going to at least load the normal stuff on. So I was in the process of doing that. Now, when I first plugged this one in without that hard drive on there, actually I think I tried the other 500 gig that I knew had all the stuff on it. And I plugged that in, and it seemed to boot into Aurora fine, and yeah. Then I opened the disk drive, it seemed to work okay. I put a game in there, and it kind of froze up. So I tried again, it seemed to freeze up eventually. So I'm like, maybe the disk drive, something's up with the disk drive, and it's just the physical disk, and it's causing it to freeze. I don't know. Trying to be hopeful. So anyway, I decided to mess with this again, and I put this flash drive in. I format this hard drive because when I finally got it to work, I'm like, hey man, there's nothing on this hard drive at all. It's just booting into regular dash and all that. And he's like, oh, that's weird. You must have did something to clear the hard drive. And then when I mentioned the freezing, he stopped responding. So it's starting to get murky, and that's why I don't necessarily want to use this one in one of those two builds, because those are tier 3 builds. We want to have some solid stuff in there. But anyway, I load the stuff on here, right? I transfer to this hard drive after formatting it, and I'm in the process of opening XEX to go to dash launch and, set Aurora to boot right into Aurora, get that all set up. And again, it freezes in the middle of trying to open XEX menu. So, yeah. And the last time I checked the temps, maybe 5 minutes before it froze, the GPU was already at like 70, and it is pretty warm coming out of that top side. So I guess before testing any further, we're going to go ahead and tear this down. I assume after 5 years it hasn't had any thermal paste swap out or anything, so let's just hope that's the issue. Here we go. Wow. Why, you know what? It's pretty clean. At least way cleaner than I thought it would be. Ooh, a little bit of rust. Okay, I've got good news and I've got bad news. The good news is there's thermal paste and it looks pretty fresh. The bad news, besides a little bit of dust, holy moly, there's literally an ocean with waves and everything. Yeah. Other than that, I mean, like I said, besides dust, everything looks pretty good. The underside, where our wires are attached, are soldered on there good. Let's see if I can. There you go. And yeah, I don't know, it was routed, seemed fine. We obviously can't ignore this. We need to clean all that up, put the proper amount of thermal paste on there. Okay, tried to dust it off the best I could. It seemed like a lot of the little dirt is just like really stuck on there. Didn't want to come off with a brush. I wasn't going to clean it with alcohol just yet. I just wanted to get the chips dealt with. Now, getting the thermal paste off, it seemed like they were trying to hide the old thermal paste that they couldn't get off, and there's definitely some deep scratches in there. Must have tried scraping it with something. Yeah, look at that. Something sharp. Try to get the old thermal paste off. So I think they thought putting more, like a whole bunch, would solve it, but it kind of makes it double worse. Now the tops of the chips look really good. Got a whole bunch of the rest of it off. I still need to get this last little bit. But I think that's good enough to, like I said, at least put it together and test. If it's still freezing up, then it's probably not that. Okay, we put a copper heatsink on the CPU. My last one, really. We put the fans from the GTA 5 shell, as well as obviously this half of the shell. And decided to throw this faceplate on there. I wanted to test fit it. And we will talk about this, transition into it, as soon as we test this out and see if it actually works now. Okay, so far so good. I also threw a white ring of light in there just to test it out. Boot it up to here, which is where I made it last time. And we're going to try... connect that controller real quick. Just curious. Go to games. XCX menu, this is where it froze last time. Alright, I'm going to go through this process real quick and we'll see if it freezes. Okay, we're here. It's still going. Set Aurora to default. Temperatures are definitely looking better. It was already like literally in the 60s at this point. But yeah, I don't know. So far we're doing better. Even the CPU, I can't remember exactly, but it was definitely at like 60 already. I mean, we weren't really running anything. We just were kind of transferring some files and setting some stuff up. So, yeah, I don't know. It seems good so far. I guess I'm going to try a disk again. I'm going to go ahead and turn it off, turn it back on, make sure it boots right into Aurora, and then I'll try putting a game in it. I know before it was having a little trouble reading it. It seemed to open and close okay, but... we'll try that again, see if it freezes up, and keep an eye on our temps. It does take a little longer to boot than some of the other ones, but... oh, there we go. I couldn't tell what it was flashing for a second. I got nervous. Bright white. Alright, I just false started. Let's go ahead and pop this. 60, yeah, look at that. Not only has it been on for a while, been playing games, and it's definitely not going to hit 70 degrees. Now, obviously, we've got a big fan on there, which definitely helps. But when you have that much thermal paste, you're kind of just insulating everything and actually trapping heat. So that definitely, I think, played a big role in here. Now, the game did load up, but it did take a few tries, so that seems to be kind of the issue with this one. So, starting with this, for now, I'm not going to say we're dissolving the GTA shell build, but it will be set aside for now. I technically have two Xenons, and I'm not really looking to gamble on any more at the moment. We have the JTAG blades that can still play anything. That one, obviously, we are going to put in the liquid metal shell, water-cooled. That's going to be pretty much the top dog. Now, the other Xenon we were going to put in the GTA 5 shell, but I'm kind of thinking if we do this one, we should have an HDMI. I mean, GTA 5. But this shell is also non-HDMI. And as you can see here, I didn't really plan for this. I forgot that we had the Woody faceplate that was included back with the Tubeman build. And I just thought this was the perfect match to put the wood pieces onto this shell. Now I also painted the entire shell. We added some flake over top, and then we also did a color shift, which is going to be hard to see with the phone camera, but it's very purple from far angles, and then it turns bluish green all the way across. And we'll take a look at the side panel, be easier to see that. Sparkles. Now, there you go. Purple, blue, green. Very cool. Now, it's obviously not perfect. We know the hydro dip part wasn't perfect. There's some holes in it. It was kind of flaking up, little bubbles, tiny spots, things like that. So I just wanted to kind of enhance this. I didn't want to try sanding or messing with the dip. I'm fairly certain that would not work out. A part of the reason the GTA 5 build, I was just didn't really look at it and go, perfect, I think that's good to go. It just felt like something was off with it. But I have a very clear idea with this shell here. Lots of purple lights. We also painted the whole inside of the shell, faceplate, everything. Very heavy with glow-in-the-dark paint. So we're going to have lots of UV lights on the inside. We've got the Woody components on the faceplate as well. And this is what we're going to use that clean working Xenon for once the caps are swapped out. The Barricade build. Now this is going to be like Mustang versus Camaro. Both of these will have a standard shell with a giant large rectangular window cut out in the side. You can see the metallic for the Barricade build and this pearl white for the top and bottom. And we're going to steal a little idea from the Tony Hawk build where we had the skateboard in the top. And as you can see here, we've got ourselves a Hot Wheel. Now, yes, this isn't the traditional Barricade color scheme, but I think this one matches better. And we're going to have to widen this a little bit, kind of trim it. I want it to sit about halfway at least down the tire, if not a little bit farther. And we're going to still put acrylic on the underside and just drill basically 4 holes for those wheels to sit inside the acrylic, so this will just kind of sit on top of there. And then we have another one for Bumblebee, which is not this one. This was kind of a test car I got. But we're also going to, unfortunately, because these are not like, $2 Hot Wheels or whatever. These are like $10 a piece. But gonna have to drill a couple holes in the bottom to mount some LEDs, and this was kind of the main reason I picked up the flashing red and blue LEDs. Yeah, that's my plan, and I think that's going to be awesome. I also want to see with one of these, preferably this one, to have the car actually up front, and then have some kind of smoke around the back that looks like it's kind of doing a burnout. And we'll probably use the blue acrylic underneath this, and then obviously the car has red windows, and with the 2 different color LEDs, it should just obviously look like flashing lights. And this is where we may or may not use the disk drive space for this, but this is a good working DVD drive, so I'd prefer to keep it in there. If not, we may do a infinity mirror, but with these strobe lights, red and blue strobe lights. Very short wires, but 12 volt, and this is obviously going to be on a switch, because the point is it'll be pretty obnoxious when it's on, but it's going to look like cop lights. Of course, I have random little decals and stuff for both of these so far. I also actually plan on using both of my fancy fans on these. We're going to use the other air cooler on the Barricade build. The white monitor will match the accents there. We will add some bright white LEDs as the main lights for the Barricade build, and I planned on using a frosted window with the gray tinted acrylic over top. This one here, we've got obviously the clear panel on the inside, not frosted or sanded, and then the dark black tinted acrylic on the outside, which is what we're going to go for on the Bumblebee build. Originally was going to use this faceplate right here, but I figured this insert matches better, especially with how the Barricade one looks with the car on it instead of the robot. I do still want to include this insert because it is cool. Bumblebee paint. I could not find a metallic or pearl yellow to save my life without having to like order something and spending a bunch more money, and I had to make my own. And what we did here was use a regular yellow, which is what I had planned on just doing, was, okay, we'll just do a gloss yellow. But it turned out to kind of be a, like, safety yellow. I don't know. I wasn't really a fan of it. I felt like it needed some extra oomph. So I went ahead and added a silver metallic flake, which is really meant to go over like a silver, so you can kind of see, like, the silver flakes. And then I found this lemon glass something or other, which is basically just like a clear yellow paint. And I went over it several times, and it gave it a little more of like a lemony tint to it, but it also made sure all of the flakes were yellow as well. And then obviously heavy gloss over top. And the tops and bottoms of that one are also the same metallic-y, dark gray, black that we used on the Barricade shell. Bumblebee, I plan to bust out the blue Talus Moon Whisper fan. Both of these builds, which is why I wanted to keep the disk drive, I was going to feature the Ghost Case disk drive bezel, and we're going to use what we just did on this build here with the eject button, except the opposite. So we're not going to have the matching eject buttons for these. I just want to use black or whatever color matches the shell, and then drill a hole in the inside, like on the side, still have the LED in the eject button, but you won't really see the LED itself. We'll just point it to illuminate these things here, which we're probably going to use UV because both of these glow pretty well. Surprisingly, the blue much more than the yellow. And I have a wicked cool idea for the disk drive on Bumblebee, but we won't share that one just yet. Here's another decal. Now, alongside those two builds, we're going to be working on this client build, which is actually for Mr. Jacob R. This is the Blades Zephyr board, OG Blades JTAG, but it literally can't really play anything because it is on the Blades firmware. Now, I was sort of starting to map this out to see if I could reuse this top shell. We might not be able to, but this would just be a window. This is going to be embedded, so just this bottom surface will be against here, just like that. About right here, this is our reservoir, and I'm sort of recreating a little bit of my first ever water-cooled 360, kind of the second version where I added the reservoir up top. Now this does actually fit perfectly in place of the DVD drive, but we did want to actually keep the DVD drive and hopefully actually keep the clear thing on top of there. So now this is going to act as our window instead of a large fan or a piece of acrylic or anything like that. And it will have to sort of face this way, but this will allow us to have it work in the horizontal and upright position. And the theme for this build is basically just the premium Xbox 360 Blades themed. So obviously Blades dashboard, and we're going to be using an actual OEM silver controller. It's actually in really good shape, just needs a little cleaned up. Same with the top and bottom vents. These are actually the silver ones. We're going to paint a nice silver clean shell. I know this looks wild, and we're combining this in the Eyeball 360, but it's not going to be wild like that. I want it to be very clean and nice. But yeah, pretty much all silver, and then orange accents, and when the thing turns on, green accents. Now, there will still be green. I plan on using the green fluid, but in terms of all the other random little things, you know, lights and stuff, once it's on, you'll see lots of green, orange, silver. That's what I think of for Blades. And before actually finishing this loop, I'll have to take apart my Xbox One S to take the orange flow meter out of there, but basically that's kind of how I want it. Both of these will be kind of flush onto here, same with this. The exit of this into pump here on the inside, and we're going to be using that 50mm radiator that was in this build. Save that for Kenobi, and on this one we're going to use a dual 60mm radiator, and that's going to be sticking out the side. We already have the hole cut, lots of stuff pretty much pre-cut already, but giant hole in the back, so this will be flush mounted to the back so that we can still fit some nice size 60mm fans on the inside. We'll pull some air in here, and we'll see if we can add a couple really small fans either along the bottom or top or both, so that air's coming in here and kind of being pulled out the top and bottom. So that is the plan for this build. I'm still waiting on a couple things, and like I said, this one still needs to be cut, sanded, painted, all that kind of stuff. But the next stuff we're definitely going to see Barricade, Bumblebee. Everything's pretty much painted. It's time to start cleaning stuff up and start assembly and wiring up our LEDs and all that kind of stuff. And we still plan on Zero Fuse into Obi-Wan Kenobi, and like I said, the JTAG Xenon, since this is a non-HDMI shell on the liquid metal. Now, what do you guys think about stuff getting split up? Because I actually really like the ruby red, since we're doing red accents. This is the pump res that we're going to be using with the liquid metal shell to use this faceplate. And then to keep the clear and liquid metal one for something else, well, I said the clear one we want to use for the eyeball one. And then we do still have the blue, yellow, and, well, I already said clear. So I did still plan on using full blue on this one, but we could maybe put the clear one with the blue. It's pretty much going to look the same. And then save the blue one for the eyeball, since I still want that one to be mostly blue, purple. I actually want to use this other side for that eyeball fan. So the eyeball fan, this on the back side, and then of course we still got to use this one here. So yeah, pretty psychedelic-y build, I guess. Maybe we'll see if we can do this one alongside the 420 build. I forgot I left this on. It's still good. It just paused. Oh, and as I mentioned, or maybe I didn't, that the Bumblebee one should be more of a premium build. If we can get the couple little weird issues with this thing fixed, this is the controller I want to go with Bumblebee. And Barricade, I have not actually thought about it or painted anything yet, but I pretty much picture black and white with red and white LEDs, or red and blue. And here's that other Camaro right there. So this is the other one we're going to be using, and here's actually the top panel. As I said, that nice metallic, and basically, yeah, so that one's mostly yellow with black accents, and that's why we still went with the yellow Camaro. It's even got yellow windows. Same thing, we'll drill a little hole, and yeah. LEDs, mostly I'm thinking blue accents on Bumblebee. He's got those bright blue eyes, so we are still good here. So, still going to set this board probably aside. We'll see what happens with it. Have to check out the disk drive itself. Uh-oh. So we will still set this board aside, do some further testing, make sure nothing else weird is up with it. And if it's good, maybe we'll even use this one in the eyeball build. To be honest with you, one of these builds is going to have to be mine to keep. And for now, it has sort of been Vader, but yeah, once these other ones kind of get finished, I'll probably be able to decide. And to be honest with you, out of all the builds we talked about, it feels like the hardest one to let go would be the clear purple eyeball build. That's it. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know which build you are excited about, but please don't like, comment, or subscribe. See you in the next video.